Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So I know there's a lot of you out there who ask for the velocity banking spreadsheet, and I even offer it to you, right? But the thing is that it's kind of a trap, right? You ever watch like the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Willy Wonka is actually setting up traps for the children so that they can set up to fail, and if they don't, if they don't fall for the trap, then they win like the Chocolate Factory, which is exactly what happens in this scene. I had to test you, Charlie, and you passed tests and you won. That's the same thing I'm kind of doing with all of you, except I'm just kind of openly saying that I'm doing with all of you. So I know that there's a lot of you who are asking for, oh, give me the velocity banking spreadsheet, and I don't mind giving it to you. I'll just send it to you. But really, if you just ask for the spreadsheet, I honestly think, and this is just my opinion, and who knows, maybe you've done great things with the spreadsheet. I honestly think you failed the test because if you're not trying it yourself and trying to make the spreadsheet yourself or apply it to your own situation and just asking for a spreadsheet as if the spreadsheet is going to um, you know change your actions or habits, which is really what velocity banking is. It's more about changing your actions and habits of putting your whole paycheck into the line of credit. Asking a spreadsheet's not going to do anything. So I know I did a clickbait title like don't ask for a spreadsheet, do this instead. Well, you can do this instead. And what's the instead is to create it yourself, right? And that's what I do every single time. I mean, I've done this so many times that I could just do this from memory. And first things first, like what are the requirements for doing velocity banking, right? What are the requirements? Let's go ahead and highlight that, right? So the requirements, number one, is you got to do a budget, and you could try apply it to your own situation. And for some of you, it may not apply, right? It may not apply to your situation because you're not at the point where you can use it. And I think that's where some people get tripped up because, um, they say, well, I don't have any income. It's like, well, if you don't have any income, most rational and sane people won't loan you money, right? Because velocity banking is a debt payoff strategy. The only time that people will loan you money when you don't have income is for student loans, and those because that's because those are federally guaranteed, right? And so banks and lenders don't have to make rational decisions when someone else is guaranteeing the money, which is why, if you're making like $18 an hour and have $70,000 of debt, and most of it's just student debt, then you can't blame velocity banking for that. You got to blame society, for making you get all that debt and a worthless education, or an education that I think is worthless. I graduated college, but I still think it was a worthless experience. So let me get back to my point. The requirements, number one is a budget, right? And what's number two is that we have to select our operating account, which will be a line of credit, right? And what is a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you can borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. So a credit card, do you have a credit card? Is a line of credit. I have many credit cards. I have lines of credit. I have over $210,000 of lines of credit, right? And so all you need is one line of credit that you're going to use as your main operating account to pay off your debts. And that's it. That's all you got to do with Velocity Banking. Now let's go ahead and create that budget. That budget's really easy. So what we're going to do is create a column for the average American. And again, this is the test. Don't ask for a spreadsheet. Go ahead and try to create the spreadsheet yourself. And I'm showing you how I'm doing it step by step. So there's nothing magical about receiving the spreadsheet, even though I offer it. You could email uh, us at the About section of the YouTube channel and ask for a spreadsheet. But even if you do get it, it ain't going to help you as much as you practicing this yourself. All right, average American. Here we got the income. Here we got the expenses. And then here we got the leftover checking, savings. All right. And all right, so let's go ahead and do that. And so what's our income? We always just use kind of the $5,000 mark because average household income is about 75 grand or 70 something grand. I think this kind of translates to that. $6,000 a month is, I think, six figures at the low six-figure mark. And let's go ahead and do this, format the currency. And again, I'm not using Microsoft Excel, but most of these programs are similar anyways. I'm just being cheap today. and a little bit lazy because I could use the web version of Excel. So if you want Excel, just use the web version from live.com. All right, so $5,000 income, we'll say $3,000 of expenses, $2,000 checking savings. Okay, and then now, what do we have here? The next thing we gotta do is expense breakdown. Expense breakdown. Okay, so now we're gonna do expense breakdown, and we just have to make sure that whatever expenses we have here equals this 3,000. And what's really important is that we list every single debt that we have, right? So debt one, debt two, rent, and then other, right? So debt one, we'll say student loan, 23, no, 13K balance, 6% interest, and 400 a month payment, right? And then we'll do an auto loan. So actually, let's switch this up. We'll make the student loan 10K. It doesn't really matter, really. The auto loan 13, and then I think the average, hold on, car payment these days is 600 or no, 800, but we're gonna be a little bit generous and say 6, right? And rent and other. So again, I just like to use the same figures over and over again. And you don't have to use these figures. Why don't you just use your own expenses and your own income to figure out what to do? But I just like using these numbers because they're easy and clean, and it's really easy to demo. Like you're demoing. You ever seen those people in like Costco who demo stuff? It's really easy to do velocity banking or demo velocity banking with just these numbers, right? And then so now you have the rent, okay? You have rent, and we'll just say it's 1,000. Other is 1,000, and then this is 600, and this is 400, right? So let me go ahead and format this to currency. So now it looks a little bit spiffier. And you can see when you add this up, it goes all the way to 3,000, right? And again, so let's ask ourselves a question. The question is, what's an easy way to pay off 23K of debt under a year without any change to lifestyle, right? So let's say I put my checking and savings, I dump it into the student loan or the auto loan, and this goes to zero, right? Then it's like, okay, what if I have $100 or $200 emergency? Yeah, I'll pay it off quicker, but I might be sweating. And what we want to do is an easy way to pay off the debt without really change to our lifestyle. Okay. So that's the question we're going to ask for today. And there's many ways that you can phrase it, right? There's many ways. This is just one way that I might present it if it's to somebody new and they see, you might have somebody who's actually in this situation where they have a student loan and auto loan, right? And then they just keep making monthly payments, right, over and over again. Now, again, this isn't a bad situation because if you have $2,000 a month left over, you're better than the average American because most people don't even have anything left over. I think the Federal Reserve did a study about a long time ago, even as far as like 10 years ago, that if the average person had like a $400 emergency, they'd be screwed. All right, but now we have a velocity banking column. Let's go ahead and do that. And this will be velocity banking, right? So we're not trying to change our income, although more income would definitely help. So $5,000. Now let's go ahead. Actually, let me, keep forgetting to format the cells. Format them to number, no, currency. Okay, so $5,000, okay? And then we're gonna have our checking and savings to zero, and you'll understand why. 1 second. And we're going to use our line of credit as our main operating account. So let's just put this in here, credit limit, balance, right? Or I'll put credit limit to make it a little bit more clear. Credit limit, balance, and then interest paid, and then month. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to go ahead and underline this. All right, do that and do that. So let's say, the $5,000 a month is pretty good income, right? But let's say we have access to a line of credit, right? So 15% interest rate. So if you know anything about interest rates and lines of credit, 15% is kind of like the average. If you have a home equity line of credit, usually it's around 10. It depends on you and your credit profile and the bank you're using. And also I think the Fed as well. But let's say the bank is lending you or is allowing you to borrow up to $25,000, right? And so, as I said before, I have about $215,000 in credit limits available. So let's say I wanted to set up a couple Airbnbs, get $1,000 of cash flow for every $20,000 I spend, which is possible if you've ever heard of lease arbitrage. But I'm not going to go into that. But what I'm saying is that let's say that you have a good relationship with the bank and they allow you to borrow 25 grand, up to 25 grand on one line of credit. Now, some of you, this might be low, but for me, or high, but this for me is low because again, I understand what the banks want. All right. So now let's just do this. The strategy is that we're going to consolidate some of our debts and then put our entire paycheck into that line of credit. And then it's going to go down, 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 and use our cash flow to extinguish this to zero. And so we're able to easily pay this off without really changing our lifestyle, right? Because if we do it this way, where we're paying this directly from checking to savings, and if we have an emergency, then we're screwed, right? And so what we're trying to do is be able to consolidate our debts, or at least pay them off quickly, and have one place where we're putting our paycheck into that line of credit, make it go down, and then do it over and over again. Now, luckily, in this situation, we have a line of credit that can fit the 23 grand, right? So we have 10K here, 13K here, and then what we can do is this. So what we can do is click the bank's website and then click, I want 23 grand, and they're going to put 23 grand in the checking and savings, right? And then you pay it off. This will go to zero eventually. So this goes to zero, and this will go to 0 and 0, right? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to make this the same. So the rent and all the other stuff, and let me specify other, food, insurance, gas, etc., right? So now the expenses are going to go to 2,000, right? So 5,000, 2,000, right? So what we do is that we put $5,000 here. This is going to go to 20 grand, and then eventually the expenses are going to go up 2 grand, right? So again, this is just an estimation, but we'll just say that this is going to go down 3 grand, about 3 grand every month, right? So let's do copy and paste. Oh, negative. Well, we can't have a negative credit limit. Sometimes if you overpay a credit limit, they might give you a refund of that money. I've never done that before, but I've heard that some people have tried to do that. Again, not giving you any financial advice, just telling you what I've heard before. And let's see how long. Oh, I screwed this up. Let me do this. All right, so what's the credit balance? And start with 23 grand, right? Okay. Whoopsie, I screwed up. Ugh, 23,000. Okay. And then this one will be equals H2 minus 3,000. And let's go ahead and do this. Yeah. Okay. So now let's see how long it takes to pay off this 23 grand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So now let's estimate the interest. And we're actually overestimating this. Okay. Because the way that the bank calculates the average daily balance, or I'm sorry, calculates the interest is based on the average daily balance. So if you're putting your entire paycheck in, right, when it's 23 grand, you put the entire 5,000 here. This is going to be 18 grand, and eventually it's going to shoot up $2,000, which is 20 grand, right? And so the average daily balance is going to be somewhere between 20 to 23,000. Okay. but we're just going to estimate and say, hey, it was actually the previous month's balance, which is kind of wrong, but good enough is good enough. So equals H2, which is the previous month's balance, times the interest rate, which is 15%, and then you divide by 12, right? So you divide by 12, okay? And now you go ahead and sum this up. So where's the sum button? Oh, I'm not in Excel, I'm in LibreOffice, so can't figure it out. So it just equals sum. And then this will be I2 to I10. Oopsie, I screwed up. Not I10, not U10. Okay, so now this is about $1,250. Again, we're probably overestimating this. And then if you want to just kind of add that here, right, at the end, even though that's not technically accurate, but good enough is good enough, you'll see that it'll take about 8 months. So if we add 1,000 here, that'll be like 3,000. And then it will, so this doesn't actually go to zero, it goes to negative, but it's all good. So we'll say it takes 8 months and $1,250 of interest because our cash flow is actually 3,000, right? So this last month, we just kind of add it here and it'll get paid off. And you might say, that's not how it works. And I'll say, you're right. But this is the cowboy math of doing it, and you'll get close enough. Okay. So, and that's pretty much it. You know, what's an easy way to pay off $23,000 of debt under a year without changing your lifestyle? And that's what we're doing with velocity banking is we're just trying to consolidate our debts and free up cash flow and use our cash flow to pay off our debt. So it's just a different way of thinking and a different way of doing things. And it's made my life really easy because when I did this, I paid off about 50, I think 55,000 or $58,000 of debt in 1 year. And that was just my mortgage. I did it in 1 year. And this year I paid about like 55 grand in credit card debt because I bought a rental property. I paid 40 grand in down payment and then I put in some repairs and I spent some money on some other stuff. And in fact, I actually spent, excuse me. All right. So I actually spent 1 grand in a commercial vacuum blender, right? And it was on sale. And I might do a review on it on this channel. It was a Korean, from a Korean company called Kuvings. And oh, I'm gonna sneeze again. So it's a Korean company called Kuvings, and it's pretty good. I feel like I could open a juice bar with this blender because again, it's a commercial blender, and I wanted like the best of the best so I can like have no problems in creating any blenders. But I might have gone overboard with that. But that's how you know I'm doing well when I'm spending like dropping $1,000 in a blender and I'm not even blinking because again, what I'm doing is I'm putting entire paycheck into debt and taking it out. And when I do that, I can go to sleep at night. And again, it might not seem like a really big difference, but when you tweak that behavior a little bit, like I mean, imagine if this were you, you're putting the 2,000 directly into the loan, and you got a credit card as a backup. This is what's going to happen. You're going to be engaged in something called segregation of income, and that is the main reason why six-figure people are broke. So if you have no idea what segregation of income is, again, I'm just going to do a quick explanation. But I've met plenty of people who are sick who earn six figures and they're broke, right? And if you, in fact, if you do a Google search, tons of articles about how people, 50% of people who make over six figures are broke, right? And the reason is because once they get paid and they use their checking and savings as their main account, they don't just have one or two loans. They got like student loan, auto loan, mortgage, consumer debt, credit card, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when your income is split up the wazoo and not just in one place like I showed you, you're just going to minimally chip away the debt every single time, right? So you need a place where you could put your paycheck into one place, and that's what the line of credit for is that's what it's for if you have debt. Now, if you have no debt, you don't even need the line of credit, right? And some people don't really think about that situation either, but that'll be what we call another story for another time. Okay, so hopefully this was a fun recap for you. And again, I don't mind if you ask for a velocity banking spreadsheet, but instead of that, go ahead and make it yourself and just copy what I did, right? Really easy. There's no special formulas other than, your basic Excel, like, H2 minus whatever, calculate the interest rate, H2 times 0.15 divided by 12, and then go ahead and sum it up and you're good. It's all good. All right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Hope you have a great day. I can't really think of a name of this. I try to think of a name for this video, kind of like Velocity Banking Super Sunday, but there's nothing that goes well with Tuesday, or at least I tried asking ChatGPT, and to be honest, like I didn't like what ChatGPT said. But who knows? Maybe next time I'll come up with an awesome video for Tuesday and include the word Tuesday in the title. But if you have any ideas of what I can name it, go ahead and leave a comment below. And also, if you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. And we'll not only learn velocity banking, but we'll learn a lot of other stuff. So hope to see you in our group if you plan to join. All right, have a great day, everybody, and we will speak next time.